So the final episode of Digital Circus is here, and boy, it splits the entire fandom. Again. The whole gang realizes that their brain scans Jack's abstracted off screen, and somehow Pomni gains the ability to dive into Jack's mind space. Oh, so that's why the poster looked like that. But aside from those things, there's a part in this finale that I still can't wrap my head around. This guy's somehow back and everyone forgives him? Why? Throughout the show, Caine remains narcissistic and wants to be liked by everyone, and he shows no signs of stopping, even until the 8th episode. He desperately wants to be loved, yet he refuses to listen, and when he does know what people want, if that's not what he wants, well, that's too bad because he's not gonna do it. But to make things more reasonable, Caine has to come up with excuses, most of which were flat out lies. Some are believable enough, but the rest are just lame. Like this one.
The suggestion box just causes interpersonal drama, and me no likey.
Okay, so what drama was it exactly? If it's Jax versus everybody, wasn't that always the case for every other adventure? Why did he care? For the first time, we even see an adventure that almost everyone enjoys. In that scene, Caine revealed his real reason.
That's a bad thing. I think they're enjoying the suggestion box adventures more than the me adventures. What should I do?
I think this is the root of every Caine's action. Caine doesn't want to get replaced. In this case, he doesn't want his job to be taken, even by a harmless box. If they choose their ideas over Caine's adventure, then what's the whole point of his existence?
Making adventures is my art. It's all I exist to do, all I'm good at. And, what you're saying could imply that I'm bad at the only thing I'm good at.
And that's why he stopped the suggestions. He wants to keep his job. I guess that's probably the same reason why he deleted Gamigu, except for this time, it doesn't replace his job, but his relationship with Pomni. Knowing how desperate Caine is for validation, if there's even a single NPC that's slightly likable and smart, the crew might prefer them over him. Once that happens, he gets abandoned, which is arguably his biggest fear.
Surely they don't want to actually leave me, right?
No way, Jose. No way, no how.
And Caine knows well that Pomni is extremely obsessed with Gamigu. Gamigu could do absolutely nothing, and she would still get distracted. You can kinda imagine how things would turn out if he did survive in the circus. But basically, it's the same fear for Caine. He doesn't want to get replaced, and he doesn't want to be left out. So yeah, lying about losing track of who's a human and who's an NPC, with whatever consequence he's implying, like, come on man, no one is buying it. And you're not that dumb to fix a problem like that. Ultimately, anything that can replace him, he considers them as a threat. And to protect his ego, he has to eliminate that threat, even if it means breaking his moral compass. But here's the thing, does he even have one? Because throughout the series, Caine didn't really show up any signs of guilt. Nothing. If someone abstracts, he makes a silly face. If he realizes his action stresses them out, he just makes excuses and leaves. And by episode 8, even when he finally knew that his actions were terrible to humans, he just doesn't care. But to be fair, that makes sense. He's an AI, not a human. He wasn't programmed to feel guilt, he was created to make things. That missing moral compass is what allows him to do such awful things. And Caine doesn't care if it's awful. In humans' perspective, it's driven by jealousy. But for him, it's just his way to stay in his position, to keep being the one who's in charge, I guess. So, why would all of a sudden, in less than 8 minutes, has he completely changed? Now, before I give my thoughts, I want you to pause this video and tell me, does Caine's return make any sense? I genuinely want to know your thoughts about this, so let me know in the comments. Okay, so here's what I thought about this whole situation. I think that he should not return. I still can't accept the fact that Jack's abstracted and the gang can't really leave, but I just can't accept that Caine somehow returns and gets forgiven so easily. Cause, let me get this straight. Kinger deletes Caine, and Caine somehow survives. Some theorize that he ends up in the recycle bin, but if that's the case, I don't think Kinger would have worried too much. He would have brushed it off and told the whole gang that Caine would come back. No big deal. Anyways, Caine tries to return. He sees the door from afar, thinking that it must be an escape. After struggling to reach it for a while, it turns out that door isn't the way out, but an access to a free Wi-Fi from a nearby cafe. Okay. With that door, Caine connects to the internet. He doesn't have much time though, as the Wi-Fi signal gets weak pretty fast. So, with that limited time, he searches up every name from his mind files and he realized that these brain scans are real people that have real lives. After he gets disconnected, Caine reflects on his past action. All this time, humans are complex creatures that have free will. Caine realized that trapping humans and forcing them into adventures is wrong. During this scene, Caine is also constantly fighting with his own ego. After switching back and forth for a while, he finally grabs the blue orb from his head, then throws it away. What? This whole sequence of events that I just told you has less than 10 minutes of runtime, and the overall visual storytelling is incredibly confusing, and I'm not the only one. Many fans are confused as well. I have to rewatch the scene a couple of times and read the summary to actually know what's going on. And I never felt anything like this for any other episodes. In terms of storytelling though, there are at least 3 things that make this scene problematic, and I'm gonna start from the most obvious one. First of all, knowing Caine's reputation, his introspection scene doesn't make sense at all. Caine has been in the circus for years. He knows that these brain scans are actual humans, and shouldn't he know better from observing them through his adventures? So how does reading articles from the web help him understand any better? And even if he finally did understand, how could it suddenly change his narcissistic mindset? And speaking of narcissism, it's not really something that can be cured, let alone instantly. I think episode 1 until 8 did a pretty good job at establishing this. He's too focused on himself, he craves validation, he has no guilt to hurt everyone else, and he's incredibly stubborn to change his behavior. But apparently you can fix all that by scrolling Twitter. Isn't that way too convenient for the plot? And finally, the blue orb. Out of everything that happens in the entire show, this has to be the ultimate stretch. Was it even set up that Caine could do that? You could just throw your ego like that and be normal? And I thought that the blue orb was the victim, but it turned out the blue orb was the evil one? Like, how? Wasn't the red the jealous one? So that Caine and Abel theory was all for nothing? Well, that sucks. Now some of you might say, bro, just be happy that Caine is back. He realized that he was wrong and he changed his behavior. That's what matters. Don't hate him. Anyone can be forgiven if they're sorry. Well, that's the problem. I tried to be content with the ending, but it just can't. The voice acting is great, the animation is good, and in the end, everyone that survives basically gets what they want. So what's not to like? It's just that Caine's character development feels way too sudden and unexpected, and the audience supposed to process that right after the fact that he survived, which was also sudden and unexpected. The way Caine suddenly feels sorry for everything after years of no signs of guilt, that just doesn't sit right with me. Oh, and Caine was forgiven way too easily because there's not much time left. Yes, I know that this whole thing is addressed in Zuba's line, but to fit the remaining screen time, they have to forgive him somehow. So yeah, good for him for finally understanding humanity, I guess. I just wish that his redemption fit in with the rest of his development, which unfortunately doesn't seem to be the case. After sitting with Caine's story in the finale, I finally get why I had mixed feelings the first time I watched it. Some of you might disagree, but I think Caine's character arc was sacrificed for the happy ending. Not to complain about Jax or anything, but honestly, even he had a higher chance of redemption than Caine. Jax was actually starting to feel supported and learn how to sacrifice himself for the greater good, but perhaps Kainer's mistake is bad enough that it completely resets all of Jax's progress. And this might be exactly why the ending splits the whole fandom, even if it's happy. On one side, you've got people who feel unfairness for Jax or Caine. On the other, there's fans who feel the story needs to be longer to explain other characters. Some viewers were left totally confused, while others thought it was completely fine. Sure, the happy ending might feel good, but it's not necessarily satisfying. There's too many loose ends that were set up at the beginning that turned out to be nothing, and there's also many things that were set up quite well at the start, only to drastically change at the last few scenes. In this case, we know enough things about Caine, only for that to change in the end. Yet, at the same time, there's still so much that we don't know about him, and one of those things conveniently solved the story instantly. And I have to admit, it's a little disappointing, and that's not something a happy ending can just magically fix. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Did you like the ending of Digital Circus? Or you're hoping that there will be another ending? Will there still be a happy ending if Caine never returned? Let me know your thoughts and here's. But for now, I think I just need some time to process all this.